One of the most underrated things you can add to your website is a form, because that's how visitors get in touch with you, customers get in touch with you, and everybody can get in touch with you. But you can do a lot more with forms apart from just getting users to contact you. And in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating WP Forms, which is one of the best form plugins for WordPress. And I'm going to be demonstrating some amazing features you can use in WP Forms to completely change how you think about forms and what you can achieve with them. So let's get started. So to give you a demonstration of WP Forms, I have set up this simple basic website. It's nothing on it. It's a completely blank website. And as I mentioned, we will be using WP Forms for this demonstration because this video is about WP Forms. And WP Forms is, as I said, one of the most powerful, one of the most popular, and one of the most trusted plugins for WordPress. It's a drag and drop form builder, but it is more than just contact forms. It has payment forms, which we'll be demonstrating, survey forms, newsletter forms, registration forms, and hundreds of use cases that you can utilize WP Forms for. So let me get started here. And what you can do is, if you want or you check out WP Forms, you can go on the website. Now, just to clarify, WP Forms has two versions. There's a free version and there's a premium version as well. I'll be demonstrating most of the, I'd say, amazing advanced features using the pro version or the premium version. The free version is great to get started, and you can get started or install the plugin from the WP repository directly. So let me demonstrate both these options to you first. So if you go here and go to plugins, you can go to add a new plugin on your WordPress website. And inside the add new plugin feature, all you have to do is search for WP Forms. And as you search for it, you'll find WP Forms here, and you can see some of the details about the plugin. Over 6 million active installs, 13,000, close to 14,000, almost 5-star ratings. Amazing plugin. It's very popular and tons of websites use it. So let's install the plugin now, and it will be installed in a few seconds. Let's also activate the plugin. All right, the plugin is now activated. Let's go to the plugins section here and go to the installed plugins area. And this is where you'll see WP Forms Lite being installed, or WP Forms, the free version of the plugin being installed. Now you might see this onboarding section. You can skip it if you like. So what I'll do is once again go to the installed plugin sections once again. And now we have WP Forms Lite. And this will give you this menu. You can go and see all these options. But I'll be demonstrating you the pro version because there's a lot of additional functionality that is very, very powerful. And that's what the video is about, which we'll be demonstrating all of that. So what I'll do is, if you want to follow along the video and if you want to use the pro version, you have to go and purchase or make a purchase on WP Forms website. You make a purchase by going to this button. You can click get WP Forms and you can make a purchase, make a payment. And inside your account, you'll get two things. You'll get a plugin zip file, which you have to download and save on a computer. You can do it, or you can always download it from your account. And you'll also get a license key. Now, I already have both of those things, so I'll just install the plugin directly. So I'll go back here and I'll install the plugin and go to add new plugin. And instead of finding a plugin from the repository by searching, I'll upload a plugin here. And what I'll do is I'll just drag and drop the plugin file. I have the zip file here. So I'll just drag and drop it here. You can see WP Forms. I'll click install now. It'll take a few seconds to install. So let's wait for the plugin to be installed. So the plugin is now installed. Let's also activate the plugin. And now you see, since I installed the pro version, the light version was automatically deactivated. But we're still not done. If you want to use the pro version, you also need to activate the plugin using the license key. So what I'll do is, instead of going WP Forms, we can go into settings here and see, you can see all these menu entries. They're very similar to how they look like. And since we haven't activated the plugin yet, that's why I'm seeing the upgrade to pro option. So what I'll do is I'll look for the settings here, which is here. And inside the settings, we'll have the option of actually updating or adding a license key. So this is the field for the license key. I already have the license key copied on my clipboard. I found it from inside my account. So I'll just paste it here and I'll paste and verify my key, and should take a couple of seconds and my key should be verified, and that is done. All right. So once again, I can go into the plugin section, go to the install plugin section to see if we have some updates. So the plugin is also updated. The zip file I had downloaded a few days ago is now also updated. So let's also update the plugin right here. Since I have the license key, now we can auto update using here. So let's click the update option and I'll update the plugin now. So the plugin is installed, is also done. It's also activated. So if I now go to the install plugin section, we have WP Forms, the latest version, all installed and activated. So let's get into the actual part of the video, which is creating a form. And what I'll do is just divide this video into small sections so you can watch a particular section quickly and understand what you would like to have as a feature on your website. So what I'll do is first quickly get into the most important thing, which is creating a form and adding a form to your page. and actually showing you how it functions. Then we'll go into the nitty-gritty and additional features of the plugin. So what I'll do is go to WP Forms here, and you can see we have instantly an option called Add New here. So I'll just go to Add New, and inside Add New, it'll just ask us to actually start building a form. And this is the complete, I'd say, experience for website form builder. And this is the first time if you install it, you'll see all these details, but I'll just go demonstrate all those things in the video itself. So you can just close it for now. And what you can do here is now start the plugin creation or start the form creation process. So I've closed the basic interface or the demo because you're watching this video. You don't need to watch that. But once you start using the plugin, you'll have a guided experience to create your first form. So the first thing what you can do is when you're starting to create a form, you can name the form. And obviously you can change the name later as well. But let's say if I name it contact, can't spell, contact me. All right. Now, once you've named it, you have to either start from scratch or use an existing template. Now, this is where the power of WP Forms comes into play. Because if you keep scrolling, you will see hundreds and even thousands of pre-built forms ready to go. So you have a file upload form, you have a fitness interest form, family reunion registration form, employee information, referral, termination, all these forms already built out for you. So it will make your life easier, and also you can just experience the functionality of WP Forms by using one of these plugins, or I say one of these templates. Now, there's thousands of templates. So what you can do is if you want to use a template, I can see 1806 templates for now, and new templates 265. You can favorite them as well. So if you want to use them later, favorite them. You can search for them, or you have categories or filters set here using which you can find the form you need. Now, since this is just a quick demonstration, I'm going to use the contact or simple contact form. Let's click on the use template button to go to the form builder so we can actually start using this form. All right, so this is the form builder interface. You'll see some fields here. They are categorized. So let me just collapse them. So you have standard fields, fancy fields, payments fields, and you also have these options. I'm going to be talking about them in detail. But let's say, for example, this is the absolute easiest form you want to create. This is, again, you can do this in the free version as well. I'll be demonstrating some pro version features later. But if you just want a basic contact form like this, you are basically done, right? We've named the form, we've imported the form, we can just save it, and now technically we are done. So let's embed this on one of the pages on the site, and then we'll take a look at how it functions, and then I'm going to tell you how to customize the functionality. So what I'll do is I can click the embed button here to start embedding this on a page or even a post on my site, right? So you can have two of these features, or you can use an existing page or create a new page. So if you have, let's say, a brand new website like I have not created any pages. I can create a new page, or if you already have a page, you can select a page and add the plugin there or add the form there. So I'll click create a new page, and I'll just name the page as well, contact us. So I'll click let's go. And what WP Forms will do is create a new page and add the form on that page automatically, nothing to be done. And my hands are off the mouse. Everything that you see is happening automatically. And once that happens, I'm also going to demonstrate how you can do this manually on a particular page or post that you like, because you're not limited to adding the form on a page where you don't have any other content. So if you have, let's say, a complete page where you need users to sign up, you have a lot of content, you can add the form on those pages as well. You're not limited to here. So now you can see the contact us page, how the form looked like, right? So let me also demonstrate how you can add this manually, regardless of if this is a page or a post. So what I'll do is I'll just first delete this block here and this. Now, if you have even a little bit of experience with WordPress, you can create a new page or create a new post and just add a title to it, and you'll have the same experience here like I have, and then you can follow the same steps I'm going to be doing right now. So WP Forms, what it does is it adds a new block to WordPress, which is the WP Forms block, and using which you can add a form almost anywhere on your website, even in the widget areas. So I'm going to be using the keyboard shortcut / and now typing it out, WP Forms, and you can see WP Forms here. So I'll click WP Forms, and instead of the form, you'll see this option menu. Now, why does this option appear? Because if you, let's say, have 10 forms, how will WP Forms know which of these forms are you trying to embed? So instead of defaulting to a form, it will give you the option to choose a form that you have created. So what I'll do is click here and see we have contact me form we just created. So I'll click that, and now instantly we have that form created here as well. So I'll click the publish button here. Let's publish this, done. And now the page is live. So let's open the page in a new tab. I'll click this, open a new tab. And you see, this is a beautiful page now on our website. Let's also try and fill it so we can see how it appears. I'll just click and add my name. And I'll just add a dummy email for now. And say, welcome to WP Forms. Oops. So I filled the form. Let's submit the form as well. So I'll click submit. And it tells us, hey, thanks for contacting us. We'll be in touch with you shortly. So the form works. And if you set it up correctly, which I'm going to show you how, you should be getting an email notification that, hey, somebody has filled out a form. And for the pro users, you also have additional options to check where entries are being made on your form. So let's go and check that out. So here, let's go back to the admin section. And now we'll go to WP Forms. We'll go to all forms. And you can see this is the form we just created. You can see all the details here, who's the author, what's the ID. So you can use it, use shortcodes, and created the date and also the entries. So you can see the entry here. So if I click the entries, you'll see what entries are being made. So you can see this entry I just did. So you can see my name, the email, welcome to WP Forms, the comment or message. And if I click view, you can even see more details about the entry here. So you can also print it, you can export it, you can resend the notifications, you can mark this unread, star it, or even delete it, add specific notes if you want to pass it to an internal team. And you also have some geolocations features, the user journey features, and log features, which I'm going to be talking about later parts in the video and how they can be very useful and very powerful. So now that you have a basic understanding of how to create a form and how to get started, how to see the entries, let's go into details about how to customize our forms and what are the different options available with customization. So to customize our forms, we can take an existing form and customize it or create a new form. So what I'll do is I'll just create a new contact form or create a new form and I'll show you how to customize it. So once again, I'll go to add new option here and we'll create a new form. I'll name the form here. I'll just name it custom form. And just to make it a little spicy, change it up a little bit, I'm going to take this form here, the accident report form. So I can give you some examples of the different, I'd say, already existing fields and how we can customize them and add new fields. So I click the use template button. And now we are back in the familiar interface where we have the fields options, we have the form built out, and we can see how beautiful the form is. It's already done and a lot of different options are already present here. So let me give you a preview, or I say a strategical view of how to think about forms. So you can see multiple sections where you can go into different sections and find out different things about WP Forms. You have this area, then you have fields and custom fields options, and you have the form itself, and then inside the fields you have a lot of fields. So where to start with what? So let me just give you an overview of what settings are here. So if you go to setup option, it's actually the basic first step which we started where we selected the form. So this is the actual setup process. Then when we select the form, we go into the fields options. So basically all these settings should be looked at as a chronological view of customizing a form. Once you're done with the fields, you can go into the settings and you'll see a lot of different settings here. And some of these we'll explore in detail. I'll tell you what these forms or what these settings are for and which ones are the key ones you should customize. Then you have marketing options again, which will allow you to connect with different marketing software, or I say email marketing software. And you also have payments options, which I'll discuss in detail at later part of this video. So basically this is how you should be looking at the field options here. And inside the fields option, we have add fields and field options, and we have the different fields here. And we also have the customization options here. So let me now explain how we go about changing things. So if you're using a automatically created or say pre-built or templated form, then you'll have most of the fields you'll need here. So let me just give you an idea on what you can do here, and then I'll give you an example of how to use these fields on these forms as well. So as you've read, WP Forms is a drag and drop WordPress form builder, right? It's easy to create. It's what you see, what you get kind of an interface and experience. So how do we make changes to our forms? So the easiest way to start making changes to the form is by dragging and dropping. So let's say, for example, you have the name, email, reporting, personal incident report, and all these sections. If you want to change the order of these fields, let's say, for example, I want to change the event description and make it the last thing on the form, all I have to do is hover over it. So you'll see a boundary around it, little border. And now you can click and drag it and take it anywhere on the page. So I'll just drag it and place it as the last thing on the page. And now just let it go. So you can simply just do this to reorder things on a form. And if you want to duplicate a form or duplicate a form field, Then all you have to do is hover over it and you'll see this option. If you click on it, you'll see this option and it will be duplicated instantly. And if you don't want something on the form, you can always hover over it. You'll see an option here to delete a field, and then you can delete a field. So basically you can do few things here. You can duplicate stuff, you can reorder stuff and delete stuff. And if you want to customize the fields itself, for example, let's say I want to change the placeholders or other options, then what you do is you actually click on the specific field you're trying to edit. For example, if I click on the name section here, you'll instantly see that instead of add fields option, we'll instantly go into the field options or tab. So I'll click here and now we are here. And now this has 3 different tabs as well. So we have the general option, we have the advanced option and smart logic. Now basically what the complete concept you should be understanding is that every field will have its own set of options, right? So if I click on the basic text field, which is the name field, I'll see some options. If I click an email field, I'll see a different set of options. If I use say checkbox thing, I'm going to have a different set of options. If I have different kind of fields, I'll have different set of options. So that's the basic concept of how you customize fields. Let's go through a couple of field options here so I can demonstrate how you can use them. But basically the idea is, if you can see, hey, this is checkbox, so you'll see the checkbox related options here and we can customize them. So let's customize the name field first. And right now the name or label is name. So label is an internal use thing only. We'll be using this later part of the video when we'll customize some notifications. So if you want to change this to, let's say, customer name, you can actually just name it like this, customer name, right? So you can change this as well. So this is what it will look like. So that's up to you if you want to change it or not. Then you have the format option. So if you want the first name, last name option, you can use that, or you can use the simple field, or you can use the first, middle, and last name as well. And then you can give it a description. You can make it require or remove the restriction to not have it as a required field. And if you do this, you'll instantly see the red asterisk actually disappear here. And in the advanced options, you'll see the field size. You can make it large if you like, medium. Then you have placeholders. So you can change the placeholders and the default values as well. So if you, let's say if it's not required and users don't fill in the last name, you can have a default value saved in the database. So if I add first name, that's a placeholder, last name. So a typical use case would be if a customer doesn't fill out the name, you can say, hey, there. So there can be the first name as a default value here, or you can just change it as well. So that's completely up to you what you want to use this for. And if you're a power user, a pro user, you understand basic styling with CSS, you can also add custom CSS classes. But we have a complete section in this video for styling options. So you can go through that as well. You can get the timestamps later and just watch that section. The WP Forms has new features on how to style your forms and they'll make your life easier. So you can also hide the label here. So you can, this label won't be shown up here. You can also hide the sub labels. So you can hide those as well. So let's keep this on and let's hide the sub labels because we have already added the placeholders. And the smart logic is some conditional logical features, which I'll talk about in the later segment of the video because it's a little powerful feature, not useful for every single use case, right? So let's go to general once again. And I already demonstrated the name field. The email field has similar options. You can go in the advanced and you can have placeholder text. You can enable confirmation. So if you, let's say, add or enable confirmations here, so they'll be users will be required to add the email twice just to confirm it's the right email. Then you can have placeholder text, everything. So it's the basic idea is the same, that for every kind of field you have here, you'll have a custom set of options. So let me demonstrate a couple of more. So if I look at the checkbox field here, you have the checkbox here. So you can change the label. And then of course, if you want to change the options here, you can actually change them here. So loss of time injury, let's say if I just want to make this loss of injury, then you can do that here. And then you also can change the options. You can rearrange the options. You can check these. So they'll be checked by default. You can do that. You can add more. You can delete it. And you can also bulk add these by CSV and other uploads. And you can use image choices. If you want to have, let's say, you're doing a survey of what kind of foods do you like? You have 4 images of foods. You can do that. And you can also use icon choices. You can add icons here as well. So all of this is available to you inside WP Forms. And the advanced options, once again, you can randomize. You have 1 column, 2 column layout. You have a choice limit. So let's say you want to limit to only the top 2. That's also dynamic choices is type also available. And all these options. So the basic idea is whatever field you're using, if you just explore the fields for a few minutes, you'll understand what the options are. And it's very simple to customize anything. Just go in the section and look at the sections, what options are available, just change it. And once you're done, you can always save your form. Now, this goes for every single field. This because as I showed you, you can change the label, change the placeholder, do the basic stuff for every single field. And for the specific field, you can change the specific options as well. So let's go into the add field options here, and let me demonstrate how you can add new kinds of fields and what kind of fields are available. Now, just to give you an idea, in the free version of the plugin, you might see some of the fields available. Mostly standard fields are available, but some of the fancy and payment fields might not be available in the free version. For that, you need to upgrade to the premium version of WP Forms. So you can see, and most of these, the standard fields and even the fancy fields are basically self-explanatory. So if you see it, you can probably tell what it is about, and some of these things you're already seeing here on the form itself. So you have a single line text, which is a single line text. You have paragraph line text, which you see here. You have drop down menu. It's not here, but you can understand what drop down is. You have multiple choice options. You have check boxes, which is here. You have numbers. You have name, email, number slider, and captcha. So there are a couple of things on this here which is not present here. So let me demonstrate how you can add new fields using here, or using the standard fields, or using the add fields options to your form. And it's again a drag and drop experience. So if I want to add, let's say, the numbers field just here below this section and above this section, I'll go and click on the numbers field here, click and hold it and drag it here, and you can see it'll give me a preview of where I can place the specific field. And it's very helpful to understand where we are making changes. So I'll let go now. And now you can see that the number fields is here. And now we can make, calculations here. We can do a lot of things, which I'm going to talk about. So this is how you add a new fields here. So if I just delete this for now, go back to the add fields, there's also a number slider. So what we can do is we can click and drag it again here and add it here. So let's say, for example, in this case, I want to have the field, what's the severity of the injury you have? So if I want to do that, so I'll just go here and I'll say rate the severity of the injury out of 10. All right. So I'll change the values from 0 to 10 here. So customers will be able to change this, drag it around, and that will be saved as well. And again, if I go to the advanced option, we have field options, we have other options similar to that I already demonstrated. So this is how you add fields to a form. So now you can basically understand that if you see any form, or if you have any form, you start from scratch, it's actually very simple to create a form, because all you have to do is just arrange some Lego pieces together and you'll have a beautiful form created in no time. So let's look at some fancy fields as well, so you can get an idea of what the field types are, so you can get a realistic idea of what kind of possibilities are. And I'll give you a realistic idea, or example of where you could use a particular field for a real world case scenario, right? So the phone field, obviously for collecting phone numbers, if you have any kind of customers, if you want users, or you want to call back people if they are raising a request or a query, you can add a phone number field. The address field obviously will collect addresses. It can be useful if you're shipping out stuff. Let's say you are a charity and you collect donations and then you give them a postcard or a gift. You can collect their address. The date and time is, let's say if you're a consulting call, then you can say, hey, what date and time would be appropriate for me to call you or to set up a call, date, time field. Website URL, again, if you're doing an audit, great field to use. File upload is good for technical issues and lots of different, use cases. If you're running a photography contest, you can have a form field where you can allow users to upload some images on your site. And I did a complete video about it. So that's useful. For tech issues, screenshots are very important. So if you're a tech support guy, you can have people send screenshots and then use the screenshots to actually just diagnose the issue. The pass fields field is also useful because WP Forms is a cool feature where you can replace your default WP Forms or default WordPress login and registration interface with WP Forms. So you can use the password field there. The rich text will again allow you to have some formatting in the paragraph fields. Then you have the layout section. So if you want to divide something in different columns, you have the layout option. You have the page breaks. If you want to divide your page or divide a form into multiple pages, that's also available. Section dividers, again, will divide your forms into sections. So if you do something like this, you'll have a section divider. So you can have the form divided into two parts. You can add custom HTML. You can add content. That means you can add images or rich media. An entry preview, so users can see how the form is going to be filled, how it's going to look like. A rating, so if you want to just ask users, hey, rate us out of 5, get some feedback, get some reviews, you can do that. Hidden fields is cool if you want to capture some information which you don't want to show to the user. So let's say any kind of metadata can be captured here. Then custom capture is useful if you want to avoid spam. I'm going to talk about it later, how to set it up. Add your signature. I like your sale. I don't know what that is, but NPS as well. So Net Promoter Score. So you need the add-on for that. I'm going to talk about that later. So you can collect, I say more for Net Promoter Score, NPS score. Very useful for business. How likely are you to recommend our product, services, or businesses? And you can collect an NPS score from your users. And the payment fields is also very exciting. Payment fields allow you to collect payments on your website. So you can have a single item, checkbox items. So you can add items. That means what users want to purchase. And then you can have PayPal, Stripe, Square, Authorize.net, and a couple of other coupon and total fields to create a complete payment forms. Now, some of these features I'll be demonstrating with real examples. I'll be creating those things on screen for you. But most of the things are very, very easy to understand. But we'll definitely do some use cases where I'll demonstrate how to use these fields. So basically, now you should completely understand how to actually create a form and what kind of options available. And I also gave you some real world examples on how or what kind of different use cases you can use WP Forms for. So let's get into the settings part here. And let me just demonstrate what these settings are and what are the different kinds of settings and how we can utilize them. So inside the settings, you'll see the few settings are available and they are enabled as well. And many of these settings are actually grayed out. So let me first tell you about a very cool feature inside WP Forms, and then that will explain why we have so many fields that are grayed out. So what I'll do is I'll just save the form for now. I'll click this cross icon, exit, and we'll go back to WP Forms. Now, as you know, WordPress has a plugin interface because WP Forms is a plugin. So we can add, or I'd say enhance the functionality of WordPress by adding plugins. Now, WP Forms has a similar functionality where you can enhance the functionality of WP Forms by adding some add-ons. Now, the reason behind this is very simple because WP Forms, I said the different kind of functionality WP Forms supports, not every person requires every functionality. So there's no sense in bundling everything together. It'll make the plugin complicated and heavy, and I say can slow down your website in some cases. But by having this modular approach, you can just enable the functionality you like and keep the installation light, make it easy as well. So WP Forms, if you have the Pro version, will support all kinds of add-ons. So using the add-ons, we can do a lot more with WP Forms. And inside the options here, you can already see the add-ons menu here. So if you go into add-ons, you'll see all these add-ons. And if you now remember the grayed out menu options, you might see some of the familiar names here. So I'll just go through these add-ons and I'm going to give you an idea of what these are useful for. And then now you will understand as well that, hey, oh, if I enable this, then maybe the settings for those specific areas inside the form will be enabled as well. So basically, there are a few different types of add-ons. The first type of add-on is connecting with external email services. So let's say if you're using ActiveCampaign, if you're using Aweber, if you're using Campaign Monitor, if you're using Drip, if you're using ConvertKit or GetResponse, then if you enable their specific add-on, you can configure your connection with that service. So like say, for example, if you're using ConvertKit, you enable the add-on, then you need to configure ConvertKit with the API key, or you might need to authorize the connection. And once that is done, you can collect user emails and instantly transfer them over to ConvertKit seamlessly. So that is the plugin, or those are the kind of plugins. For all these plugins are about that. So that specific service of email service provider can be enabled with that specific add-on. Then we have some payment add-ons here. So you can see Authorize.net. If I scroll down, you'll find PayPal, and you'll find Square and Stripe. So all these are for payments. If you want to collect payments and if you have a particular service you want to use, then you can enable the add-on for that service and use it on your website. And similar to how email services work, you might need to authorize the connection once, so either log in or I say use the API keys to connect, and then you will be able to collect payments on your website as well. Then you have some functionality related add-ons. For example, the calculations add-ons lets you create custom calculations for shipping, quotations, or any kind of calculator on your site. So let's say, for example, if you're a weight loss coach, you might ask users to enter their weight, and based on this, you can calculate their BMIs, and you can calculate the overall, say, the calorie count they might need to eat. And if you're a, say, shipping provider, if you're shipping something, you can add, hey, how many products someone needs. You can calculate internally how much weight that is, calculate shipping costs on the fly, and do all sorts of calculations. Again, this is the kind of thing that adds functionality to your site. Then you have conversational forms here, and this changes the form, the experience. And I'm going to be demonstrating some of this. So I'll skip the description, but again, this changes your form's experience into more of a conversational form. Then you have form abandonment. So if users actually abandon forms, if let's say you have a long form, then even partial information entered by users can be captured. It's very useful. Then you have form locker, which lets you schedule your form. So let's say you want to have a form enabled only, hey, tomorrow morning from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then lock the form. You can do that with the form locker. Then you have form pages, which again changes your form's experience. I'm going to demonstrate some of that. Geolocation will allow you to capture geolocation and have API, or I say not API, but autocomplete address fields in your forms using the Google API. It's also very useful if you want to have inquiries coming in for businesses, or I say if you provide services to local areas, you can collect the geolocation experience or geolocation data about them and have more data about where your users are coming from and where you want to service them. Then you have the Google Sheets interface. So you can connect your forms to Google Sheets and transfer the data over to Google Sheets. You have lead forms. Again, this changes the experience into different experience. I'm going to be demonstrating that as well. Then again, MailChimp and MailerLite, I already explained, they are email marketing service connectors. Then you have offline forms. So if you have, let's say, a shady internet connection for users, then you can have offline forms. So if they fill up the information, form goes offline, don't worry, the information will be saved. But when they come online, the information will be captured again by your website. Then you have post submissions. This is useful if you have a website with multiple users. You want users to be able to submit content on your site, but you don't want to go through hassle of actually giving them registration options and logging into the admin area. So you can use the post submission options. Then you have save and resume. So users can actually save their progress on the forms halfway. For example, let's say you are giving someone an employment form, you want to hire them. You might have a very long form with a lot of details being needed to fill out. You can give this option for users. Say, hey, if you're halfway through, just fill it, save it, resume it later. Then you have signature, which is obvious. Then surveys, which is obvious. User journey is very useful. So let's say you want to track inquiries or leads to your website, but you don't know what content are users actually seeing on your site before deciding to contact you. So user journey add-ons will allow you to get that data. So you can actually see, hey, if users go to these 3 blog posts on my site, or they watch this page which has a video, then they are more likely to actually sign up to this or inquire to my business. This gives you actionable data on how to improve the lead capture rate on your site. And you also have a user registration option. So as I said, WP Forms has a functionality where you can replace the WordPress interface with WP Forms interface. So it allows you to completely revamp the registration and login experience. I personally use this on my personal website as well. So it's very powerful, it's very useful. And then you have webhooks. Using this, you can connect to any service, external service which connects users webhooks. So it can transfer data from your website to any other website. And you also have Zapier, which allows you to connect to 6,000 different apps using automations and then completely transform how you utilize forms. So you can connect with a service like OpenAI. You can connect with any website, any service that has API-based solutions. So you can literally connect with thousands of different apps right from WP Forms. So that in essence is a simple crash course on all the different add-ons. And now if I go back to all forms, and if I open the second form here, again, contact form, which we just created, let's go here. And if I now go into the settings part, now you can see what the add-ons for and why these are actually disabled. So if you enable the relevant add-on here, and you can actually just do this, if you click it, it'll ask you to activate the add-on. So if you want to make calculations, you enable the calculations add-on, then you'll see the settings for that add-on here. So that's why you see a lot of these, or I say majority of these are disabled, because the relevant field or relevant, I'd say, form or add-on is not activated. But the ones that are activated are very useful. So let me go through them and I'll demonstrate or talk about how you can utilize them and how you can, or what's the benefit, or which ones you should be using for almost every single form. So starting with the general settings. The general settings, you can see it's the general settings of the form. So you can name the change, or you can change the name of the form. You can give the form a description. You can tag. So if you, let's say, have hundreds of forms or tens of forms, you can use tagging. This is for leads, this is for internal use, blah, blah, blah. You can add tags. You can change the label of the submit button text. So if you want to change the label to, instead of submit, say sign up or register, something like that, you can change it here. And you can change the submit button processing text. So let's say if you have sign up, then the submit button can be, when the user click it, can be signing up. That can be done. In the advanced option, again, you can change or add CSS classes, and you have pre-fill options as well. So if you want, you create different options from social media. So users coming from different traffic sources can have different form fields set up. It's a very powerful feature. Again, not for every use case, but it's a very powerful feature here as well. So once the general settings are done, next is the spam protection and security. Now, if you have public forms on your site, then you're likely to get spam. I get spam all the time, almost like 2-3 times a week at least, and my website is barely popular. There's barely any traffic on the site. Even then, I get spam. So if you have a popular website, I can sympathize you getting hundreds of spam emails a week. So what you can do is, to avoid being auto-filled by bots or like random users filling out random things, you can enable the spam security feature here. And WP Forms integrates with many services that help with spam protection. So you have custom captcha options, reCAPTCHA, edge captcha, Cloudflare, and Akismet, if that's how it's pronounced. You can use any of these services, and you've probably used or seen one of these services. If you go into a website and they say, hey, are you a human being? Click this button. This is the exact same service you can add, and it dramatically cuts down on the spam that you will receive on your website. So if you want to use them, then all you have to do is select the one, and then you have to again connect with the API keys. So some of these will have free versions, or I say free trials, or I say free tiers as well. You can use any one that you like. So if you enable this and enable some of these features, then you can dramatically cut down the spam you get if you get any spam on your website. So again, WP Forms is completely, I'd say, has all the features and support required to actually set these up. So you don't have to figure it out that how do I do this? It's all built in, just configure these things. Then you have the themes options, and inside themes, there's not many options. It's just a entry, because forms or the theme styles or the form styles is not where you customize it here, but it's very useful and very powerful. I'll be demonstrating that once we go through all these options. I'll create a couple additional forms. I'm going to show you how to utilize styles to customize how your form looks. But it is here, and this is a more recent feature, so that's why I wanted to emphasize it here. Then you have the notifications options, and inside notification and confirmation, these are very important settings you need to keep in mind and know about and configure essentially for every single form, in my opinion. Now, what's the difference between notifications and confirmations? So confirmation is what the user sees, and notification is for you, the admin. How are you notified if a user fills out a form? That's the difference. So let's start with confirmations first. So inside confirmations, if we remember, we filled this form. This is a confirmation. How do we customize it? We actually customize it here inside the confirmations. So we have the default confirmation, we have the confirmation type, confirmation message, we have smart tags, we have automatically scroll and show entry preview, all these options. So let me talk about what these options are. First of all, we can customize the messaging here. So we can say, thank you for submitting the accident report, right? So if we have the accident report form, this is what it says automatically. We can change this. Thank you for submitting the report. We will evaluate it and get in touch with you shortly. Let's say that's when you want to customize it. So if you want to do this, that's completely done, right? So we have done this. Now, what is smart tags? Now, smart tags is a very powerful feature. It allows you to dynamically reference the data that was just submitted by the user. So let's say you are inside the form itself, you have the first name, email, and other data the user is filling out. What if you want to say, thank you for submitting the report, Mr. XYZ? This is where you can use smart tags. So let's say I do this, I report, oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Let's do this, comma, and now I want to add the first name. So if I click show smart tags, then it'll give you an idea of all the fields, not an idea, but a visual of all the fields available inside the form itself. So if you click the name, now you see that particular field ID has been added here. So now whenever users see the confirmation, they will see this. Thank you for submitting the report, Mr. XYZ. We will evaluate it and get in touch with you shortly. So that's the power of smart tags. So this is again a one type of confirmation. For example, now you see when we submitted the form, this is what you see, or you just see a new message on screen. What if you wanted users to see another page on your site, right? You can also do that. So let's say, for example, users register for an online event. You don't want to tell them, hey, thank you. You might take them to a specific page about, hey, these are our speakers, or this is the event details, blah, 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 right? How do you do that? So the simple answer is just customize the confirmation type. So right now the confirmation type for this new form we are editing is message, because we are seeing or showing users a message. But if we change this to show page, then we can use any page from our site and show it here. Now, I don't have many pages on the site. We have contact as a sample page, but let's say, for example, I wanted to do this. So when users actually confirm what, not confirm, but once they submit the form, then I can show them, hey, this page. So if I create a custom page on the site, I can automatically take them to this page. Again, very powerful feature. But there's another feature which is even more powerful in my opinion. So if you have this option, or you can go to the go to URL, then this is an even more powerful feature. Now, what's the difference between show page and go to URL? When you choose this option, go to URL, you can use external links as well. So hypothetical scenario would be, you are a consultant, you a sales consultant or anything like that, and you provide some paid consulting, right? So you ask users to fill out the entries, fill out the details, and then you take them to a payment page externally. Let's say for some reason you want to use PayPal, you can take them to PayPal, and once they pay, then their confirmation will be registered. So once users fill out a form, you take them to a payment page or an external page. You can just add the URL here, and they'll go to that page and make the payment. So this is all about confirmations, but notifications is even more powerful because it's for the administrators. That means you guys. So if we go to notifications, okay, let's change this to here because I haven't added the field here. Let's go to notifications as well. So right now we have one notification here. Now the beauty about confirmations and notifications is that you can add more than one notification and more than one confirmation. So inside notifications, for example, you want to have, when somebody fills out a form, I should be notified as the administrator, my sales team should be notified, my customer support team should be notified, and they all will require different sets of data or different sets of confirmations. So you can create different notifications so that all teams can be differently notified. So I'll just demonstrate that. So the default notifications is first, this is the default notification. Now, by the way, if you're using the pro version, you'll see the form entries inside the entries itself, and you don't want to make complex things, you can always disable the notifications entirely. But the simple way is that notifications are actually emails that are sent out to you. So default notification is sent to the admin email address, right? Sent with this subject line, sent from this email address or this name, sent from the admin email, reply to, and email message is this. So it's basically an email format that you can customize what information is sent out in email. So it's sent from the admin email, sent to the admin email. The name is the site name, so it's a random name here. And inside the email field, you have the all fields. So it means this, all the information that the user has submitted is just shown up here. Now, if you want to add a notification for the user as well, that we have confirmed, or they say somebody submits this and instantly closes the page, they want to see confirmations, and you can just click here and say user confirmation. Let's say I do this, I'll click OK. And inside the user confirmation, instead of send to email address to going to the admin area, I'll just use the user email here. And now I've just customized this notification to go out to the user. You can fill out the rest of the information, and you can have, instead of all fields, you can just say, thank you for reaching out. We will be in touch shortly. Here is a copy of all the information you sent. So now in just a couple of seconds, I have customized and created a new notification. So this notification, which is, you can name it admin notification. And the above one is user confirmation. So when this form is filled, if you have all email settings set up, whenever this form is being filled out on my site, the administrator, that means you and me, will get a notification that somebody's filled out a form, but the user will also get a confirmation that, hey, this user, thank you for contacting us. We are on your case or whatever. Now you can add more. You can add one more for the sales team. You can add one more for the marketing team or whatever teams you have. So you can completely customize who gets notified when a user actually fills out a form. So this is just, I'd say, a tip of the iceberg feature set of WP Forms, and how you can customize it and use it in powerful ways to completely transform the experience of just having forms on your website. So now you know what WP Forms is capable of. I demonstrated different kinds of forms, how easy it is to make forms, add them to your pages posts, customize the fields, customize the functionality, the notification sections, and a lot of other areas of your website and the forms. So let's talk about a couple of additional features. I'm going to be demonstrating right now the styling feature of WP Forms, which is a relatively new feature in WP Forms, but it's very, very powerful if you want to visually customize or change how your form looks on the site. So onto my screen here, this is the form we created in the first example that I showed you in this video. A simple contact us form, right? So simple contact form, name, first name, last name, email, and comment. And I also demonstrated how this will look like on a live website. We also tested this out. But how about if you wanted to change it? Now, there is power users features inside WP Forms. You can write custom CSS or custom CSS classes, but that's not accessible to every single person who wants to use WP Forms, right? So there's a new update, or I say a more recent update to WP Forms, where you can use styles to completely transform your forms. And it is much, much easier than it sounds to actually use on your site. So all you have to do is click on the form and use the block-based settings that you see, which you're probably familiar inside WordPress if you use WordPress. So if you click on any block, you get this block settings. So similar to this block, which is the WP Forms block, I already demonstrated that. I'll click on it, and this is the block settings. Now, if I just toggle this, you'll instantly see what I'm talking about. You'll see all the different styles that I'm going to be demonstrating here. So first you have the form settings, the themes, field styles, label styles, button styles, container styles, background styles, and advanced options. All of this can be customized. So again, I don't want to make it a 2-hour video just about styles. So let's quickly run down the options here. Inside the form settings, we just can customize the form. So you can change which form it is. Instead of deleting the form or deleting the block, you can just change the form here. You can edit the form, view the entries, show the title here. So if you add this, it will show the title, and you can also enable the description here. So let's keep that aside because we are more interested in the styles options. So inside the style options, you have multiple options. So the theme section allows you to pick a theme, which is a collection of, or let's say, pre-built styles that you can directly add to your form, which is a faster way to get started. And the rest of the options kind of give you more fine-grained control over individual elements if you want to customize that and go that route. So if I open up the themes option, you'll see you have plenty of themes to choose from, right? So if I just click on them, I can instantly apply them on my form. So the default theme is here. If I click this theme, you'll see a different theme. You'll see the button styles change. Again, this changes, this changes, this changes. But if you scroll down a little bit, you'll find some interesting themes which have variety of background colors and change the style dramatically for the form. And once you do this, for the first time you do this, you'll be given a notice. The theme you selected has a background image. It's quick and easy. So you'll have to do this one. So click continue. It'll take a couple of seconds, install an add-on, and now you can have beautiful background images on your forms as well. So if I click this, this is the one that has shadows, nice borders. You can see it's a 3D look. I'll quickly demonstrate a few I say different ones. Let's go for lilac. So this is a basic theme. Then tangerine. Let's go for arrow. This was the one which has the shadow styles. Then you have blossom. You have the bouquet, which has rounded corners on the sides. Again, looks very cool. You have concrete with a nice dark color. Then you have cotton candy. Let me scroll down. It's this nice minimal design. And you have this frost looking very nice, and hallway, and Manhattan, plaster. And you can see and you get the idea how quick and easy it is to customize your form with just a few clicks. And if, let's say, we stick with the Sonic one because it has nice rounded corners, 3D shadows, and it looks great. Now, if I go here in the field styles options, we have all the different styles that we can customize. So size is medium, border is solid, border size is 1 pixel, and the border radius is 22 pixels. Now, if I want to change this, let's say I go for 5, then you'll see that the rounded corners around this changes instantly. So if I just make that 22, you'll see it has a much more rounded appeal now. So the idea being that once you apply a style or a pre-built theme, then you can change the style or customize the style by going into the options. Let's say, for example, I think the field styles can be around 15. This also looks nice. Maybe let's stick with 20. And if you want to make the border a little thicker, let's say we do it 2 pixels, and now it's much more pronounced. So again, you have all these options, and you can change this from dotted to dashed and completely customize your form. So I'll click and disable this, but you also have label styles. That means you can customize the labels. You can see the colors and the error message in the sub-label. So for example, I want to make the labels completely dark in color. I'll click on this and I'll pick the black color, and now you see the labels are now black color. And you also get some pre-built palettes that you can choose colors from. Then you have the button styles. Once again, you have the option for button. So I'll make the button large. Let's make the border around solid. I'll add a border for 3 pixels. And let's make the border black just for example, because I just want to emphasize that there's a border. It doesn't look great, but I'm just giving you the idea that you can set a border if you like. So I'll just stick with white and just make the border 0 because I don't want to add a border here. And again, you can completely customize buttons as well. Then the container styles, again, let's say if you, for example, you don't like the container to be too rounded, so you can just set it to around 20, which is a similar style. And this looks also very nice in my opinion. You can also add a shadow here, which is already here. So you can add a small shadow, a medium shadow, or a large shadow. And you can also change the shadow color. So let's say you want to match the shadow color to the button color, something blue. So I'll click custom and I'll just hover over this or try to find a color which is similar. Let's see. Okay, maybe this looks similar. And now we have a nice little border here as well. So this is how easy it is to customize. I'll go down, scroll down, and we'll find the button styles, container styles, and then you have the background style as well. So once again, you can completely customize or add an image. You can use a preview style. You go to unsplash.com, any website, download an image, add that as a background, and you can use that. Or if you want to add a background color, you can do it. So you can see I'm not a great designer, so I don't make the best choices when it comes to colors, but you have the option of actually choosing completely customized background and with images as well. So you can choose a media library image that you already have or a stock photo. So the basic idea behind styles is that you have pre-built themes already given to you by WP Forms, the team. They have made some beautiful themes and you can use them directly and then customize them as well. And then you can delete themes, add new themes, and create your own custom themes as well. You can save them as well. So that's all about the themes part. Let me just update this post and I'll show you how it looks on the actual page. It will look exactly like how it looks here. So far cry or far huge change from the first initial version of this form, and that's how easy it is to choose styles in WP Forms. So let's talk about another exciting feature inside WP Forms, which is conditional logic. You might remember when we were designing the second form that I created, I demonstrated that if you go to the field options, you have this smart logic which has conditional logic built in. Now, I'll give you a couple of ideas on how you can use this feature to completely enhance your forms. So let me give you an example of how this can be utilized. I'll give you a practical example. Let's say, for example, you fill out a form, and this is the form that you're working with, and you want users to fill out an email, and then when they submit their email, you want them to be able to sign up for your newsletter then and there. But if they don't fill out an email, you don't want this field to be actually displayed that, hey, sign up for the newsletter, because there's no email. So that's that's one case scenario where you would use this kind of smart logic. So for that, all you have to do is use conditional logic. So what I'll do is I'll go to add fields, add a checkbox here just below the email. And let's, for example, I'll change this. I'll remove this first choice, second choice, and I'll just say, hey, let's say subscribe to our newsletter. And maybe let's keep it inside the heading. And in the advanced options, let's choose to hide the label. And we'll add this here. And we'll just make this checked and done. So now just simply made this checkbox here, which will be checked by default if the field opens up, which will say subscribe to your newsletter. The label will be hidden, but I want this field to be only displayed if this field has an email. So I will enable conditional logic for the field I want to hide or show based on a condition, which is this field. So I'll go to smart logic here and I'll enable the conditional logic. And this is where it gets amazingly powerful. So what you can say is show this field if this field is XYZ. So of course, we want to show the field only if this email field is not empty, right? So I'll select the email field here and we'll say show this checkbox if this email is or is not empty, right? So not empty is an instant option here. So if the email field is not empty, this will be shown simply, right? This is one simple example. Let's save this and I'll add it to a new post just to give an example of how it actually works. So I'll embed this, create new page. I'll say contact form 2. Let's go. Let's add that to a new page and I'll demonstrate how amazing this feature is. So I'll publish this post instantly And once it's done, I'll just click on the view page. And now this is the exact same form. And you can see, even though you can see it here, oops, let's go back here, not here. Where is that? Okay, let me go back and open that up as well, the actual form. So you can see the difference here, right? So let's go to all forms, and inside the form, this is the custom form. So this is the form. You see the email field, and you can see the checkbox here, but the checkbox isn't visible here because we've set a conditional logic. Now I'm going to start adding something here. Let's add something, and as soon as I start typing, that field is now visible. So this is how powerful this feature is when it comes to customizing and enhancing your forms. Now you can use this in many ways. For example, let's say you say, hey, how did you hear about us? And you have Google, SEO, blah, 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 whatever. And there's a other option. And as soon as someone checks the other option, you can have a field pop up and say, okay, please specify where did you hear about us? And this applies to any other, let's say all different fields as well. So let's say, for example, I'll give you another example. And instead of the email field, let's say we have a ratings field or star ratings field here. So I'll start and choose the star rating option, and I'll add it here, and I'll delete this field for now. And let's say, for example, we want to create a single, I'd say, paragraph text, which we'll call review, right? So we'll say, please leave us a review. So simple here that, hey, users will rate us and then review us. Now, we don't want users to be able to leave a review if they rate us 1 star, 2 stars, or 3 stars. We want the good reviews, right? So what we'll do is we'll customize this review field to appear only if the user selects 4 or 5 stars. So let's do that. So I'll click here, go to conditional logic once again, enable it, and I'll say, show this field if rating is either 4, and here is where it gets interesting, either 4 or 5. So we'll add one more group and do the same thing, and these has or conditions here, and you can also do this with and conditions. You can completely pair these conditions and have a ball when creating a form. So once again, I'll say where rating is 4 or 5. Oops, let's do 5. So now this form is visible on the page, and you say this review field will only show up if this rating is 4 or 5. Let's save it here. And since we customize the form here, if I refresh this, it should automatically reflect these changes, right? So if I say 1 star, but nothing happens, 2 star, nothing happens, 3 star, nothing happens, but 4 stars, ooh, instantly the review fields show up. So that is how WP Forms conditional logic is quite powerful when it's creating forms, customizing forms, and getting additional features out of your forms, or more juice out of your forms. Let's talk about some additional features inside WP Forms, and then we will finish with some exciting examples. So now that you've seen all that WP Forms can do, let me give you a real-world example of how powerful WP Forms is, because all the examples I've shared, because most of you might be beginners who are watching this video, I wanted to keep it simple. But I want to give you an example of how, not complicated, but how powerful WP Forms can be. So here's a simple form that I imported. By the way, this is a pre-built form inside WP Forms. I didn't create it from scratch. So that's the power of the templates. It's a simple fitness test. It calculates your BMR based on the numbers you provide. So you have the name and email field. So let's say I fill out a name, and let's say I fill out an email, whatever it is. I'll just keep it simple. I'll fill out my age. Okay, I'll just change that. Again, validation field, pretty good. I'll enter my age here. I'll keep it simple. You have 2 different formulas based on which the entire details change. So if I choose this field, the entire calculation will be different. If I choose this field, the calculation will be different. Let's stick with the first one. You also have the option to choose between 2 systems, the imperial system or the metric system. So you see, if I change to the metric system, you have new fields come up here, and the imperial system, new fields come up here. So this is, again, conditional logic and smart logic in action. Now, if you fill in these fields, it'll perform calculations in the background. This form will perform the calculations in the background and give out an answer here in these fields. So let's say if I do this, I fill out approximately 6'2". Weight is, I believe, 190 pounds or something. I don't know, maybe 200 pounds. I don't know exactly. But let's skip with that. And instantly, as soon as I filled in my numbers, you can see my BMR is this. If I do moderate exercise, then this is the BMR. If I do light exercise, this is my BMR, and moderate activity and very active, this is my basal metabolic rate. Now, just to give you an idea how this form is created, if I go to the back end here, this is the form. And just to give you an idea how this was created, we have layouts also being used. So this is one layout. So inside this layout, we have these fields. Then based on this formula, the fields actually change or the calculations change. And you can see here, if I go to system, it has imperial and metric. If you remember, based on what we selected, the fields actually changed. So if you go here in the centimeter option, you'll see the smart logic being used that only show this field if the system is metric. Weight also appears to be shown if the system is metric, and all the information, right, whatever the fields are, they are shown based on what what the layout, not the layout, but what system is being utilized for capturing the data. So that's how it's done. Then we have the BMR. So the BMR is a simple calculation based on what your age is, what your height is, your activities. It's a basic mathematical calculation based on some fields and capturing that data and calculating the data. Simple math. So how is this calculated? If we see and go into BMR options, by the way, this is a form that you can directly import. You don't have to create this from scratch. If I go into the advanced options, you'll see you have calculations options. Now, if to use calculations, you need to enable the calculations add-on, which I showed you all the add-ons. So the option or the basic options are very simple. It just says, hey, if these fields are not empty, some basic calculation output the data. And you can also validate the formula here, as it'll probably say, hey, yes. So it's a simple calculation, mathematical calculation. So even though you might not be great at looking at this code, you can just import this form and customize it. And if you click the cheat sheet, it'll take you to WP Forms website. It'll show you how to actually use this or simply write the formula that you want to utilize in complete detail. So you can use these basic operations and define custom formulas. So you can do this for motorization calculation, financial calculations, mortgage prepayments, car loans, fitness calculators, all sorts of calculators, even the complex calculations. You can actually do this and have WP Forms spit out the results on for the users, basically. So even though this form looks great and simple, there's a lot of great things happening behind the scenes, which makes it a powerful form. So that's one practical example of WP Forms, and now you can utilize WP Forms to do this. Let me also demonstrate a couple of additional forms so that you can understand the real world examples or what kind of forms you can create with WP Forms. So let me demonstrate one more amazing form that I built with WP Forms just for this example or just for this video. And once again, I've used the existing template and modified a little bit just to drive the point across on what powerful features WP Forms can actually do for you. So this is the form. So let's open the actual website first so you can see it. Let me open the page here. And this is the actual form here. So it's a photography release form. So it's a form that you would use when, let's say, you are getting copyright information, copyright protection, and just filing your images for copyright. And also it can be used for model release and other kind of photography related activities. So just to get an idea, you have all these fields here. You have full name, business name, email address, information, client information, work information, copyright information, right? So you can have all these drop-down options, exclusive, non-exclusive, what time period, permitted users, restricted areas. And then a couple of things I've added or customized was I added a reference image here so it can be also saved on the record. What kind of images are we talking about? And you also have the signature field here. Now, this is the signature add-on in action. And let me demonstrate how amazing this feature is. So you can actually just sign right here with WP Forms. So you can actually post out a signature, and this can also go into your database. So that's how powerful WP Forms is. Now, inside the reference images options, you can completely customize what kind of images or what kind of files do you accept. Now, what I've done is, just for this example, if I go here into the field here, if I open this options, you can see what restrictions I've set up is the image has to be maximum 2 megabytes in size, maximum 1 file will be uploaded, and it can only be JPG. Now, I've done an entire video on how to customize this particular field, file upload field. So if you want to customize it to accept JPG, PNG, that's possible. PDF is possible. Bigger image size possible. If you want to save those images to your gallery, that's possible. And if you want to have more images, that's also possible. Now, let me demonstrate in this in action. I have 3 images here. One is a JPG, but more than 2 megabytes. So if I try and drag this here, it'll say, hey, max file allowed is exceeded because it's 3.3 megabytes. So I cannot upload this image. The second one is a JPG that will be accepted because it's less than 2 megabytes. But the third one is a PNG file. So if I drag the PNG file here, again say, hey, this is a PNG file type is not allowed. But if I take the JPG, which is around 245 kilobytes, now this file will start uploading. So even with these kind of fields where you can upload images, WP Forms is amazingly powerful, and you can create some amazing forms with WP Forms. Let me give you a couple of additional more examples of powerful things that can be unlocked with add-ons and how you can utilize them to create some amazing forms on your website. So let me give you another beautiful example of how add-ons can completely transform your forms into completely different machines, or I say powerful forms. So if you remember this form we created in an example, this was an accident report form. It's a simple form that we created, or basically I imported and customized with WP Forms. Now, this is the regular form experience. Now you see so many different fields to fill in, all the ratings, and it can be overwhelming to see that, hey, I have to fill out all this information. It's not I'd say a pleasing experience, especially if someone is reporting accident report or something like that, right? So if we change around and add a couple of additional add-ons with WP Forms, we can completely transform the experience. So let's go to the form builder here, and this is the exact form we were using. So I've already installed and activated the conversational forms add-on. I'll go into the settings here, and now you see the conversational forms option is enabled because I've enabled the add-on. If I enable the conversational form mode, now this will be a full page experience which will be completely customized. So we can have a title, we can have a message, it will live on its own page because it's a complete new experience. You can also upload a header logo, you can hide WP Forms branding if you want to, and then you have other options as well. So you have progress bars, and you can change the color scheme as well. So let's say if I like this purplish, burgundy purple color, whatever, I'll save this, and now this is the new page where this form lives. So instead of the original page, if you open this up or refresh this won't change because the conversation form lives on its own page or own URL. So if I now click on view, we'll go into the conversational forms. Let me demonstrate how it looks like. And this is how it looks like. A beautiful, completely new experience. So I'll click start, and now it will give me additional, I say, completely conversational way of filling out every detail. So I'll fill this form, and I'll do this, and I'll do this, and I'll say, and I can give a rating now and review. I can do this, and I can keep scrolling, and I can even use my keyboard to fill in the information. So I'll do this, and you can press shift enter to go to the next field. So it's completely easy to actually navigate. So click this, and it's a divider. Let's go to this, and you have the involved in accident and this, and you can see the beautiful progress bar that gives you an idea on how beautiful this is going, or how I say, not beautiful, but what's the progress of this actual form being filled out. But the idea behind is, think about this experience, and this is useful in many cases. But if you have a use case for conversational forms, how about this experience? It's also an amazing experience for your users. So again, this is an amazing demonstration of how a simple add-on, a couple of tweaks, can completely transform the form experience for users. And this is, again, I have barely touched the surface on what's possible with WP Forms. All right, folks, so that's my complete overview, a demonstration, a deep dive into WP Forms. And I hope I was able to explain the possibilities of what's possible with WP Forms. Again, there are many add-ons, so I don't want to make this a 10-hour video, but definitely if you explore all the features in WP Forms, it can be more than 10 hours. But hopefully now I've convinced you to take a serious look at WP Forms, to add forms on your site, completely customize the way users interact with your forms on your website, and utilize the powerful features in WP Forms to make calculations, to have file uploads, and all the amazing features I demonstrated. Once again, WP Forms, the website is wpforms.com. It'll be on the screen. It's linked in the description of this video. If you like this form or like the WP Forms add-on, like WP Forms, go make a purchase, have it on your site. If you have any questions about WP Forms, the comment section is open. If you like this kind of content, then the subscription option is also open. It's completely free. So click subscribe, like this video, share this video, and you're watching Yuvraj from WP Beginner. I'll catch you in the next video very soon. Take care.